Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. Joined once again by Gov'na Kevin Hoyt.
I like that. The Kevin.
Yeah, that kind of like puts it all together all in one, right?
I sign all my emails to officials like that. Office of the Vermont Kevener. That's a true story, Michael Jaco. I bet they.
That's pretty cool. So froze up. So hopefully you come back. The Governator, right? So I guess it's just going to be me for a little bit. So the floods in Texas are have taken quite a few people. I think the last I saw was 109. I don't know, it was 165 still missing, something like that. So quite a few people still missing. That's not a good sign at this point for so long after the flood. So we'll just have to send some prayers out there, and hopefully, those people are found and they're okay. So hopefully Kevin comes back. If not, we'll just continue forward. JP Morgan just paid $290 million to Epstein victims. That's right. So there's some corruption there. The Epstein list. I agree with you, Val. Will probably we'll find out that probably it's a CIA, Mossad, and MI6 list that they use to control people. So why would we have the problem? After Bondi, and she is blonde though. Bondi, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino all say, that they're going to hammer this when they get in the position to do that, and no, they're not. So that's a very interesting. Everybody's like, what is going on? So President Trump is still backing all of those people, and came out, I think, publicly today or yesterday, saying that he still supports them and so forth. So he supports them, but we're just talking about the Epstein list. So Trump supports those guys that are now reneging on having lists, and they're going after those lists. And Bongino, before he even got in there, is like, we should never lose focus on that list. And that's something that they have.
I'm smiling over here because we're on a list. I think this is again, my internet I've never had a problem, but my internet, I keep on losing service. So hopefully we're going to make it through a whole podcast. But there's a lot of things like the Epstein list, the JFK files, all these promises that we're all waiting for. I think they're coming, actually, but there's a lot of things behind the scenes right now that they can't tell us. We've said this for a long time. Covert means secret. They're not supposed to tell you what's going on. The bad guys can't tell you, obviously. Hey, Kev, you caught us. You're right. All these felony crimes. That's never going to happen. And the good guys can't tell us for reasons too. So again, the world's chaotic right now. Did you see what's going on like in LA now, Michael?
It's like the streets are empty, or there's more rioting.
Well, no, as far as the feds, I mean, we've got federal agents along with ICE and the military that are, again, allegedly cracking down, just like we allegedly had, the No Kings tour. We had riots in LA and in Boston and in New York. And I have friends in those cities, and they're like, man, there was no riots. That's a narrative. So I think more is going on than they're telling us on the television. Go figure, right? That's why you got to watch the Michael Jaco. Ohio right now too, Dayton, Ohio. Again, we're raiding judges' houses. The media is just telling us, it's they're undergoing active search warrants, court-ordered search warrants, but they're not telling you what it is. It's, again, Ohio, we know, is a hub for child trafficking. They're raiding judges.
Wow.
They won't tell us they won't tell us what's going on here in Vermont too. All those missing officials and all that, the investigations under wraps. These 6 officers or those 4 officers or all these elected officials. It's RICO. So my theory still is the good guys are, again, active military operation, and we're taking out bad guys. A lot of it's happening underground, and then they're
Mhm.
using these narratives and optics to wake people up, right? There's a lot of stuff. Again, volcanoes. You see Indonesia. Have you been paying attention to that end of the world at all?
Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, I'm all over that because I know we're gonna get some significant earth changes coming up. So yeah, it's just like erupting like crazy. Japanese super volcanoes starting to get a little, say a little puff, but it's huge eruption. Lots of earthquakes in those areas, and usually the earthquakes are plate sliding. But I think what the earthquakes are is the volcanic magma that's moving around down there. So that's where a lot of that earthquake activity is coming from too.
Well, and the same thing. I mean, we've talked about we have an earthquake machine. Back in World War II, instead of using the
Yep.
bomb, we almost hit them with a tsunami. So now we're talking about these things. Mega volcanoes, again, they've been happening for a couple of years now. There's more active volcanoes right now than ever before in history. But I think a lot of that is controlled as well. Again,
Sure.
man-made is this part of, HARP and NOAA and the weather manipulation and weather warfare. Really, I think that's what we're looking at. I wanted to
Hmm.
go into present, but for some reason it won't let me pull up my files. They're really they're tanking me. I just did another podcast. Again, we got interrupted 3 different times. I've never seen anything like it. I think it's because we're over the target or maybe a little ahead of
Yep.
the curve. And I think it's the good guys again that are in control of this and everything's timed. So maybe that explains some of it. I had some slides I wanted to show regarding Indonesia specifically because there's some I mean, the aerial footage and the smoke and the ash that's going into the air, absolutely incredible. And of course, that has all sorts of side effects that'll travel all across the world as well. So people should be watching all that stuff. I mean, have you seen any of the videos or any of the pictures coming out of Indonesia? Or
Yeah, I
the
mean the level of the eruptions are phenomenal. It's like incredible amount of ash going up. Now the ash is going to cause problems as far as like global cooling, and that we've had that in the past where we've had like super volcanoes go off, and we have like a no summer and super cold winters. So
right.
yeah, I've been predicting we're going to have a cold winter, and now I see why, because we're having a lot of ash that's going up in the air.
They talked about that was one of, again, I've heard Juan O'Savin specifically talk about that was one of like these end games where they had them wired, Montana, Hawaii, certain locations, Indonesia as well, where they can literally set off explosives to make these
Right.
volcanoes go up. They do
Mhm.
a super volcano. Again, you get a bunch of these happening all over. It blacks out the sun and again, the end of existence type stuff. That's a real scenario that could play out. I hope that's not what's happening. But again, lots of crazy stuff all over the place. Texas, everybody's talking about Texas. What are your thoughts on Texas, Mike?
Yeah, there's like the good guys are seeding, cloud seeding, and because there is a positive effect of that. Of course, I think consciousness is far more powerful. I've used consciousness to do that and push it and so
Right.
forth. But most people aren't into that. But cloud seeding to a certain extent, can cause good things, but I think it gets manipulated. I absolutely, no question in my mind, because we saw radar images the night before where they were like, just like exploding energy into Texas and pushing lots of moisture into
Right.
Texas, and
There's
then
a
then we have that in the middle of the night, where they love to do that in the middle of the night. Take people out in the middle of the night because they don't get no warning. Tornadoes, like several months ago, were happening. 0 dark 30, and taking
right.
out a lot of people.
Well, and this is where I mean, I've always had the interpretation that this is the good guys. Again, when we had our floods here in Vermont state and lost our servers, I thought, they're taking out bad guys. Or when the Northwest burnt last year, or it goes on, right? Hawaii, the Carolinas, all these things, we always find it's the same thing that I see happening in Texas. I mean, I had some stats that I wrote down because I want to make sure I got them. First of all, the aerosol injection that they're talking about. I'm assuming you're talking about the Rainmakers Incorporated. Have you seen that? Do you know what I'm talking about? Rainmakers Incorporated. It's a company. I think they're being set up as a patsy. They're being blamed for Texas right now. Again, they're aerosol injected geoengineering, cloud seeding that we're talking about. That's illegal, by the way. It's already illegal. It's a war crime, but our government allows it in the name of safety. It's always to protect us, right?
Yeah.
So again, I think the government's actually setting those guys up. That high altitude aerosol injection would never, ever make that amount of rainfall. It's impossible. That's not what happened. And you saw this, like the weather guys will tell you it was a perfect storm. Had a hurricane come in, it hit a cold front. This is where you get into the weather manipulation. You got a video for me? Let's play it.
Yeah, this is a little bit here. This is from Sean Ryan's show. This is Augustus Dorico. He's only 25 years old.
Yeah.
I guess he left Stanford. Now, if he left Harvard, I'd really be suspicious. But because, Bill Gates and all those guys that, turn out to be bad guys usually leave Harvard. But Stanford's not much better because most of the CIA comes out of Stanford. So he was on Sean Ryan. So he's only 25 years old. And he has this company, and he has so much insight. So he's the CEO of Rainmaker. They talk about manipulating the weather. He says they've come a long way. He says they were using it after World War II, but I know that they were using it during World War II. And so you got a little something to share there too. Good. Yep, there he is with Bill Clinton. So I would never do a picture with Bill Clinton. Now, I've been in a casino where he came, and I was the head of security. So I was in charge of security along with his security detail. But and I didn't meet him, but I heard him. He has a lot of charisma. But a lot of dark people, psychopaths do. So I would never take a picture with a guy like that. I mean, I would never do anything with the guy. But so that's very suspect that the Rainmaker guy is hanging with him.
Yeah. Well, and again, I think, just my personal opinion, that they're being, set up. This is what they want us to look at. But I think there's good reasons too. I sent you another picture here. You want to pull this up? Because remember
but being set up, do you think that they're being set up to and it's better if you delete your other one? Let's see if I can remove it.
Do I have to? I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, otherwise you're gonna get too many in the queue, and it'll shut down like it did last time.
How do we remove from studio? How about that? Boom.
Oh, remember, look at that new Joe Biden and who's that lady he's with?
I think, again, then remember, everything we're watching on TV, the same people are trying to convince us that's the new Joe Biden. Guys, television's not real. We've said it over and over. You tell your children that. So what you are literally watching, both sides, is not fair, balanced, accurate, and it's optics, it's narratives. So what did we learn? Again, did you see the blue rain? Let's talk about the blue rain first. Did you see the blue rain the day before this giant flood in Texas? They have a bunch of videos of literally rain that was blue colored. Did you see any of that stuff?
I did. Mike? Yeah, I did a show the other day, and I brought all that up.
Were you buying that? I don't know if I believe that one. I think that one. What was your opinion on that? Do you think that was real?
I don't know what. So I'm thinking of the chemicals that they put out there, and I don't know how it would turn it blue, but there's other people that have talked about it. But if one person seeds the consciousness like that, and other people start to spread it, then people think that it's real. So that's the thing we have to watch, and that's a good point about the blue water. And this guy was like, you saw a video of it, and I'm like, okay, we'll put that out there and see.
On a tarp, couple campers. Yeah. I researched and looked all around. I got lots of friends in Texas, and I could only find like 2 pictures on all the play. And I'm like, this one's a little sketchy for me. So we do have to. Another one that I'm definitely going to trigger and get a lot of trouble for is the Camp Mystic. From the name to, I mean, what a tragedy, heartbreaking. I don't want to take away from anything, but when I watch all of the media light up and it's just everywhere, that's my first indication that, man, we really need to look at that. We know what happened with, Sandy Hook or all these other things. It just seems like this is a heartstring, it got everybody's attention. And again, it's, you can't even come out and even question it, or you're a bad guy. And I apologize to everybody up front, but I want to make sure that what we're watching and getting is fair and accurate. Sandy Hook seemed very accurate too. We saw parents, we saw grieving people. Was it now? I don't know. I look back and I look. So we know the river rose 26 feet in 45 minutes. That's kind of crazy. Kerrville, Texas. I don't know if people knew this, but it's ranked number 2 as far as millionaires per capita. So out of the 20,000 residents that live in Kerrville, 1,244 of them are millionaires. So this is not your average community, right? It's an upscale thing. We've watched this stuff happen. They just approved a power plant for $175 million in March. It's only July. Smart cities again. We're talking about, again, minerals, lithium, copper, lead, zinc, silver. It's the same, whether it was Hawaii, whether it was the Carolinas, whatever we're talking about, there's always these cabal strong points set up on minerals. So right. I think this is all optics. This is for guys like Gov'na Hoyt and Michael Jaco to go find out and go, hey, look at all these different connections. And really what's going on here, it's waking a lot of people up and it's making them look. So I think that's, again, it's twofold, right? My theory is we're going in, we're taking out bad guys. We're using weather manipulation to do that. The storm is upon us. What we're seeing is the overflow. These are casualties of war. It's just hard for me to get the piece. Like you said, it happens at 4 o'clock in the morning and there's no warning. Mm-hmm. My theory was we're flooding underground dumps. Mm-hmm. And again, the fires, the water, the whatever, it's coming up to the surface level. And these are casualties of war. It's still a whole lot cleaner than, worldwide revolution. That would get ugly really, really fast. But it's hard for me to believe good guys are doing it.
The good guys don't kill people.
Don't do that. No, not on purpose.
So, anyway. I would not be surprised we find a lot of children that will never be found.
Right. And the children
we know how that works. So they use, and it's not just so they could go after the children. Of course, they use this for multiple reasons. But as along the lines where you're talking about flooding, the good guys, because they know their bad guys are going to come in and do this, they'll come in and like take that. Like when we saw Milton come in and got downgraded just before it hit Florida. It was supposed to be a Cat 5, and then it got downgraded just before it came on shore. And we heard they dumped a bunch of, from the atmosphere. They did some flybys and dumped all kinds of huge ice crystals and slowed it down and dropped it. Right. But it flooded Disney World. Yeah. So that's that. And, so
Denver,
it can Vegas, be used. It can be used to actually do positive, just like what we saw with in North Carolina with Hurricane Helene. When Helene went up there and did all that damage, all that flooding, we know that it was actually diverted. Some of that was diverted down into the DUMBs. So there's definitely, and I wouldn't be surprised, like you're saying, that could have been used to go into DUMB activity in that area.
I know, again, we're going back a couple of years, but here in Vermont, the amount of rainfall didn't match the flooding. There wasn't enough water. And then Lake Champlain, we've talked about, numerous times. It's our largest fishery. The lake actually dropped 2 feet. What? The lake dropped. All the rivers rose. What the hell's going on? I think they were connected. I do think they were flooding the underground DUMBs. Yeah. And again, the result was we lost our servers, and we learned about this and we learned about that. We learned about Hawaii and smart cities and governors and, security directors. We learned about lithium deposits or the tunnels, the Getty Museum, right? You guys, this wasn't even long ago. LA just burnt down. Remember? Like, what was it? A couple months? Feels like a couple months. LA just burnt to the ground just about, and all the underground tunnels and all these things. That's the optics. That's the narrative. That's what we're getting on television. What I'm telling you is behind the scenes, I think a lot more than, we're being told is what's going on. And when the geoengineering topic, I've been working with Jim Lee down in the Carolinas. He's probably the world's foremost in terms of this geoengineering stuff. I got together with him and a guy named David Sorensen from Stop World Control. I think he's been on your show too. And we've been working on, it's called Operation Blue Sky for 6 or 8 months now, right? Maybe even longer. Trying to pass bills, trying to get the legal end of it, trying to get the exposure out there and try to find out what's really going on. Like one of the things I was wrong on, it's important to tell people when we're wrong, contrail versus chemtrails, right? Believe it or not, guys, when you see those lines in the skies, those are contrails. I was wrong, right? There's always chemtrails, but the chemical you're seeing in the contrail, right? The atmosphere has to be correct. On those days where you go out and you're like, oh, they're not spraying today, beautiful blue sky, they're still spraying. Just the atmosphere conditions don't allow us to see the trails. On those blue days, if you look towards the edge of the firmament, off towards the horizon, you're going to see it's white, it's milky. Again, that's the high altitude aerosol injection that they're doing for cloud seeding. They have self-levitating nanotechnology. So if you let it go above 65,000 feet, it actually rises by itself and it stays up there. It doesn't come back down, right? So there's different levels. But the real devious thing, again, our governments knew it's already illegal to do this. So what they did is they put it in the aviation fuel. This is about regulation.
Right.
All gas, right?
Good point.
All aviation fuel. And at this point, now we're talking about, our air, our water, our soil, our food. This is giant. So when we see and talk about geoengineering, weather modification, weather warfare, there's a massive flood. That's horrible. That's bad enough. On top of that, we got all these chemicals that are in our air, food, water, and each other, right? That's bad. But what people are really missing is the transhumanistic agenda, right? The transhumanism movement, which is going on. Let me see if I can find another slide for you, Michael, because a lot of people, we've been talking about this for a long time. See if that come up. Just thinking about it. We've been talking about they're changing us from the inside out. I don't know if you can share that slide for me, buddy. There we go.
Yep.
So this is, again, a year and a half ago. I think you've talked to Lisa Schermerhorn too. Lisa was one source. We had 3 different sources, one in Florida, one in Vermont, and then one in Ohio, where we all found these same things. And then Abby Jones confirmed it was in her horses. But what you're looking at here is a dark field microscopy of somebody's blood. And all these little bubbles that you see are red blood cells. And that big tube-like thing is actually a GMO parasite. They crossed a silkworm and a goat. I know where they got the goat idea from. But what that does is it essentially is eating our red blood cells. And then those blood cells are being replaced with the graphene oxide and the nanotechnology. So essentially, they are turning us into robots, receivers, transmitters, again, storage facilities and conductors. We're basically becoming human computers from the inside out. And you don't have to be vaccinated, right? When we first discovered this, again, what was happening is we were looking at the blood clumping, where you've seen it, all the blood cells are stuck together. It looks like a stack of coins. It's not supposed to be that way, right? And now we found out, again, that led to the graphene oxide, that led to the blood clots. Our coroners, I don't know what's going on there. Our coroners actually have to inject people like 3 or 4 different locations with embalming solutions now. Everybody that's dying, because they're basically all clotted up with this type stuff. Absolutely incredible. This is Martine Rothblatt. We've talked about Martin, and again, that transhumanistic agenda. The Sununu cartel, Chris Sununu, the governor of New Hampshire, they were going to be the new biopharmaceutical hub, New Hampshire, right? What's more scary than big pharma? Big biopharma. We're talking about the Human Genome Project. We're talking about, again, mRNA, all these changes and all these things, whether you guys wanted to or didn't want to, here it is. Like, that's what we're looking at. So I think that's the real agenda with this is 6G. And again, the transhumanism movement. What do you think of all that stuff, Mike?
Oh yeah, it's this dark field microscopy. I've done a lot of stuff in that, and Lisa Schermerhorn did some healing on a lot of us that had some bad stuff in our blood, and it was clumping together. So it is real that our conscience can affect that, but so can the negative guys. But if we don't know about it, we're not going to fix it, and we're going to have suffering and all that kind of stuff. So it's a real deal.
Well, and this is where, again, I'm going to trigger your audience and my fans and everybody else too, to really watch President Trump. And I love the brand and the direction we're going, and we're out and stuff. But I said from the beginning, you know, I was a Trump fan before it was cool to be a Trump fan. And I love the direction. Again, same with Elon, even though I know Elon's a bad guy, I know the direction and what we're doing, so I can improve. I don't think it's them anymore. It's my own personal opinion. But people really have to watch what's going on. When Donald Trump, again, was elected in November, I told everybody we were in a giant Trump test. And if we as the American public accept another fraudulent election, the 2024 election was absolutely rigged. If Donald Trump accepts that, we might be in trouble. We should really look at it. And again, I want to trigger my friends. I want, you guys to look at this from all different angles. I'm not a Trump basher. That's not what I'm trying to do. But one of his main things right now is the cryptocurrency. Again, that's connected and related back to this transhumanistic thing. And then the 6G. People, if you remember, he wants to, first of all, he spent $500 billion on the nanotechnology, mRNA nanotechnology. That scares me, just putting it out there. And then he wants to double the electrical supply of the United States to power 6G, 5 and 6G and AI. That's terrifying to me. I'm sorry if I'm triggering people. Mike, are you looking forward to 5 and 6G and AI and like nanotech? Does this sound, I thought we were against those things. Am I wrong?
No, I can't be against it. That's the future. AI is it's here and now. It depends on who wins the AI battle. So if Trump, the good guys, I guess, because I'm like you, I watch everything. I don't trust. Mm-hmm. I trust but verify.
That's all I'm saying. Watch.
So, trust but verify. So I know that there is a rush to attain AI dominance, and once that's attained, you control the world. So we want the good guys to get AI dominance, because if the bad guys get it, we think it's bad now. We think they run a lot of things, control a lot of things. It'll be complete control once AI comes in.
Well, when I hear, again, when we're talking about the Iron Dome, who thinks it's a good idea to let Big Tech put a giant surveillance dome over the world? I can see problems there.
We already have that. We have complete surveillance now. And but there is a positive to that, because when you have complete surveillance, then you have control of what the bad guys do too.
Right.
Completely. So
it's just
that's
who's
why you
in
want
charge
the good
of
guys.
it.
Again, that's why you want the good guys to get that and not the bad guys.
Well,
they're trying to.
I'll say it's like a rifle or a Volt, right? It depends on the user. And good again, point. I'm going to use Tracy Jaco. We'll quote Tracy as far as the AI being angel intelligence, right? Absolutely. We should get a hold of that. I got a short video. It's about 2 minutes. Can we play that? Let me try to stick it on the screen and see if it comes up. Because again, I want to watch all sides.
And while you bring that up, I'm gonna do this real quick. There is somebody in the chat was asking about tunnels. Says, well, why don't they show us all the tunnels? All you have to do is go truckers revealing tunnels, and you're going to get a lot of truckers in tunnels, guys. So it's not, it's being revealed. So you just have to be open to that stuff. There's a lot of reveal happening, but you still have to do the mainstream media is going to bring it to you.
Yeah,
you know that by now. It's going to come from people like us. But if you miss one of our shows where we reveal big on that, then you're still in the dark. So, but If you have those questions, there's enough information out there where you can do your own research and find this stuff.
Trump posted this on Truth Social yesterday. We must maintain our status as the worldwide leader in Wi-Fi, 5G, and 6G, connecting every American to the world's best networks. He states, I'm going to free up plenty of spectrum for auction, so Congress must put 600 megahertz in the one big beautiful bill. And while everyone is cheering this on, clearly they have not researched 6G. Scientists want to use people as antennas to power 6G. Why? Because your body is pretty great at harvesting wasted energy. It states researchers at the University of Massachusetts Amherst believe using humans as part of the antenna system offers the most efficient way to harvest waste energy. It states, in the always present effort to speed up informational exchange, scientists have already started investigating visible light communication. Basically a wireless version of fiber optics that uses flashes of light to transmit information. It says the scientists found that humans can play a crucial role in making VLC more efficient by using their bodies as a carrier for coiled copper to catch waste energy. 6G will run off Li-Fi. It's a form of wireless communication that uses visible light and infrared light to send and receive data. And they say it's better because it uses less radiation, even though they've been saying for years that that's not dangerous. Nokia CEO says humans to be implanted with 6G chips, sets time frame. It is said that 6G, which is currently under development, will make smartphones irrelevant. Nokia's chief executive made this known at the World Economic Forum, according to multiple media reports. His statement comes amid the project of the world's richest man, Elon Musk, which seeks to implant chips into the human brain to create a computer-like visual interface. Might I remind y'all of this patent, 060606. Cryptocurrency system using body activity data, which states human body activity associated with the task provided to a user may be used in a mining process of cryptocurrency system. A server may provide a task to a device of a user which is communicatively coupled to the server. A sensor communicatively coupled to or comprised in the device of the user may sense body activity of the user. What will 6G or Li-Fi do? It will give off your body activity, because we will be like antennas. Body activity data may be generated based on the sensed body activity of the user. The cryptocurrency system communicatively coupled to the device of the user may verify if the body activity satisfies one or more conditions set by the cryptocurrency system, and award cryptocurrency to the user whose body activity data is verified. In short, if you do what they tell you to do, you will get paid. And what network will they use to measure that? 6G.
Terrifying stuff, in my opinion, Michael. And again, I love the patent, the 666. Did you catch that when she was reading it off? Is this all optics? I sure hope so. You guys better get right with Jesus. You better find yourselves. And again, this is some scary, scary stuff. It goes back to that transhumanism movement. Again, what we found when looking at all the blood, we actually found a way to kill the GMO parasites in tissue. The problem is this has been going on for so long. Many of us were already so reliant on the GMO tissue and fake blood that we would kill the user. That's where we are. So again, if you want to look at a scary end game, it's too late for a lot of people. There's already new species of humans. This is all fact. You guys can do your own research and look it up, but this is where it's building. And when I put all these things together, the connections, again, absolutely terrifying. I still support Donald Trump, by the way. I said that many times, and it confuses a lot of people. I think one man can't fix this system. We've seen him try, right? But I think one man can destroy the system. And I think that's actually what we're watching. All systems, medical system, the judicial system, the tax system, education system, you name it. It's got system. I think it's crashing. So are all these things that we just talked about, is this just, again, is it optics? Are we supposed to be looking at these things? Because I am, and I want you guys to be looking at them too, so we can make a conscious decision together and go in the right direction. 6G scares the hell out of me. I don't want to be an antenna. I don't want to be part of a, communication system. I'll go back to, I was the last guy to get a cell phone, right? Didn't need one, didn't have one growing up. And today, just like the rest of you, I don't know, your own parents' phone number, speed dial mom, right? They're dumbing us down. And that's the scary part of AI for me, is we got to do the work. We can't become lazy. Right.
And what I like while you were talking about that and showing that video and so forth, there are people like WTF and I'll never comply. These are the people that stopped the COVID-19 vaccination program in its tracks.
Yeah.
You know, there was only a small percentage of us that did that. And we did that because it was moving forward. Fortunately, you know, it was exposed enough that people were like, no. So that's what we're about, you know, exposing this stuff. So, but there's people that are compromised. But if we get ahead of it, like we're doing right now, we can. Then the sheeple won't go in that direction.
Awareness is key.
If you get in front of them and start to go this way, then they'll go that way. But if we're in the back going, okay, where's this train going? And the bad guys getting in front, start directing traffic, the sheep are that way. So we have to get in front of this stuff. Otherwise, the main group of humanity goes in that direction, and then everything gets compromised, and it's really hard to stop it.
Right. And again, Jim Lee, again, good friend. He's kind of I think the world's foremost in this. A lot of people are going to disagree with him. I want to give him a shout out at climateviewer.com. And we're working on another website that's up, and I don't know if it's actually up yet. He's been working on it again. David Sorensen, a whole bunch of us from all over the world been working on this for almost a year now. So hopefully there's a lot of misinformation going on out there. So what's happening is we have states like Tennessee that they pass, laws that ban aerosol spraying and geoengineering. And now they're ready to kill pilots because they can look up and they still see the aerosol spraying. Has nothing to do with the pilots. It's in the aviation fuel. When we pass these laws, we have to make sure they're all encompassing. It's in the aviation fuel. We need to go back and make sure that these poisons are in the jet fuel to start with, along with, again, the weather modification, the weather warfare, all the cloud seeding, all these different things that they're doing. Yeah. There you go. There's Jim's site. And again, he's got another one that's coming up. A lot of people don't like Jim. Because again, they call him a chemtrail denier, right? Because Jim will tell you they're all contrails. I argued with Jim, but unlike most people, I actually had a conversation with the man and I listened. And he can tell you what days they're going to have chemtrails. He'll tell you because it's per the atmospheric conditions. And people will say, well, geez, Jim, I seen him start and stop. I can see him turn them on and turn them off. Yeah, he just dropped 2,000 feet and now they're spraying. They know what they're doing. It's being done with intent. Again, your government knew that it was already illegal. So what they did is they disguised it. They hid it right in the aviation fuel. If you fly a plane, you're part of it. Sorry. But that's where we got to start looking. And then the accountability piece. This is true evil when we're talking about all these things. And I don't know where it's going to go. The transhumanism movement is absolutely terrifying. Again, you get into the biblical references, the mark of the beast, all these different things. That patent didn't have a 666 by coincidence, Michael Jaco.
Yeah, that's one of their trademarks. And they like to put it in our face times and, all kind of crazy stuff. And the market meltdown, the Great Recession, it was, everybody was scared the world was going to end. The S&P 500 went to 666 and then turned around and started going back up.
Yeah, all these numbers. Symbolism will be their downfall. And I'll tell you guys, where I am right now in my life, the virtual reality theory is pretty solid. We're in an advanced holodeck that's so advanced, your words and thoughts really, really matter. That's why they had to take over our language and, everything for that matter, right? The alphabet right down through the Bibles, the religion. And I think there was a great reset already. I think we had advanced civilizations and free energy and airships with direct energy weapons, and they poisoned our wells and called it the Black Plague. And they used those airships and weapons to melt our cities. You guys can call me nuts if you want to. Then they added 1,000 years to our history. The Wright brothers, Ford, right? Even, again, maybe even our own Constitution and the whole revolution from England. Is that all fake? I don't know. Everything that I'm looking at right now sure indicates that we've been lied to on a massive, massive level. And I think, again, I don't know is the one thing that I've learned. I don't know, but I know we've been lied to. And I think that's the great awakening. I think that's what people are starting to experience and see. I don't know how we were so blind before, but what do you got here, buddy?
So this is the S&P low, and March 6, 2009. So you always invert the nines for these guys. So we have 3 9s over here, and we have 3 6s over here, and we have 3 6s there. So 666 is 79. So invert the 6 to make us another 6. And March 6 is a 6, of course, and then 2009 you invert the 6. So you have a double sixer there.
Yeah. Well, we're starting to learn all these codes. And again, those we were talking about, NOAA and HARP and all these different agencies of NASA, right? NASA is a giant lie. If you look at NASA, the speed we travel around the sun, 66,000 miles an hour. There's 666 all over the place. The distance from, Pluto to Uranus is your ass is right. It's full of those symbols. I think that's all made up. I don't believe in space anymore. I'm going to take all my political aspirations and toss them out the window. At least the space that I was taught the same thing as you guys, right? I'm not buying that anymore. I'm not buying the same concept of space and time that we were given in school. I know better now. I've looked at other things. I think we live, again, based on my tests, I think it's pretty flat. I think we're covered with the firmament. I think you've been lied to on an epic level, and finally people are starting to catch up, right? So again, we're talking about making human robots, making you into computer, along with child sacrifice and adrenochrome and all the other crap we never thought we'd talk about. This stuff is real. Witchcrafts, chupacabra's real, man. Dog man, that shit, they had us convinced. In fact, the devil's greatest trick was to convince us he wasn't real. I think that's Paul Harvey's. We'll give Mr. Harvey credit for that.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good one.
I miss Paul Harvey.
Yeah, he was good.
He was. Now we are becoming the new news. Yeah. That's right. Good day, right? That was Paul Harvey was awesome. He told us George Carlin. We had so many people. I can't imagine being David Icke or Dolores Cannon or some of these people that were here and they've been doing it for so long. David Icke hasn't swayed, right? He'll talk about reptilians with you. I believe in reptilians now. I think there's other, species. I don't think they're aliens though. The whole space thing, it's a lie. It says right in the word. I think they're extraterrestrials, subterrestrials. I think even the shape of our Earth, physics, chemistry, history for sure, right? We've been lied to. And once you guys start catching on, again, we just went from, a regular discussion into that esoteric, but that goes back to the power of you, everybody watching. Once you guys realize how powerful you are in your words and your thoughts, I think we're going to move mountains, literally.
Yep, absolutely. So cool. Ike says Trump is no good.
I don't know. And again, is it Donald Trump? That's not Joe Biden. We just showed you Joe number 10. 6 years ago, I told everybody that was not Joe Biden, and there's still some people laughing. I told you about chemtrails, and you laughed at me 20 years ago. I was watching them build our skies, and you go, Kevin, you're nuts. So all crazy Kevin's not so crazy anymore. I'm sorry. We were advanced. Again, if you've been watching Michael Jaco, we're 2-3 years ahead of the mainstream media. We told you about the Lyme crimes, 2 years before Tucker Carlson even thought about it, right?
Yeah.
All these big players that we're talking about. I don't know how we got where we are, Michael. Again, other than God, that divine peace. My whole life, I spent running from a religion and politics. I thought successfully. God had a different plan, right? I was doing making this network and having all these incredible experiences in these unique locations. And I don't go by, because you told me so, worked when I was 55, it's not working anymore, right? Especially now that I know what I know. So I'm going to do my own research. And again, I've never lost faith in the people and in God. So I trust that plan, God's plan.
Yeah. Yep.
Wherever we go, I'm ready.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there. I mean, David Icke, I don't agree with everything he has. I've been on shows before. Super interesting guy, yeah, and really wants to share information, his research. So,
right. Well, and this is where I don't agree with anybody. And I said that about politics. I've never been a politician that I agree with 100% until now, and it's because it's me. I hope you guys don't agree with me. You're supposed to challenge me. You're supposed to say, hey, Kevin, that's a great policy. This is how we make it better. Because you guys have certain experiences that I don't, right? Jack of all trades, master of none. You guys, everybody watching, you all have your passions and loves in life and things that you're really, really good at. All you have to do is use them for good. It's that do the right thing. I mean, this isn't hard. I've always said that. That's easy for Vermonters. And I know, again, you guys, Americans are great. We're still the best country in the world. What we're finding out is our government sucked. You want to talk about terrorists? We were one of the biggest, right? That reality is starting to finally hit. The military is one of my biggest concerns. People like Michael Jaco have come to that conclusion. I'm sorry for all those other guys. You were used, man. You were lied to, sent overseas to, fight for oil or banking or whatever, I'm sorry. I don't know what else to tell you. And all the people that laughed and ridiculed me back in the day, I still love you guys. There's, if you were vaccinated, if you were duped and fooled by that medical experiment, there's options. Check out the new life, LifeWave, and the stuff they're doing with water is incredible. I love my Wave watch. There's, all these different things that are coming on right now because of people like us. See the color of my hat, Mike? Just checking. We're the White Hats guys. Nobody's coming. I believe in, again, the Donald Trump brand. I think this is a military operation, but I'm not going to risk it. I'm not going to wait around for it to happen. I'm going to, help it happen. And I hope you guys are joining me in that. Participation is kind of mandatory at this point.
Yep. And someone asked about McAfee. I believe McAfee's still alive. Juan O'Savin does as well. So I've talked all about McAfee on so many shows. I think those Florida towers were collapsed because they thought that McAfee had 31 terabytes of files in one of those condos, and then they collapsed all of those condos in on the footprint. Right. It was like 9/11 again. And now everybody in Florida is suffering that has a condo that's like, pre-73 or whenever those condos were. So they're having to upgrade them, and they can't afford it. So condo prices are, bottoming again like they did back in 2008, 2009 in Florida.
Well, I think that's that push to get us activated.
Yeah. So I did a lot of shows on the Surfside condos, revealing that, it was, we could see the detonations in them just like we did with 9/11. It was the same thing. So of course you go online, you look, I just looked online and Google says, no, that's misinformation. So,
been debunked.
Yeah. That wasn't him. And it wasn't from his Twitter account and blah, blah, blah. So
I know they got the fact checkers work for Google. Go figure. That's the problem, isn't it? And when you go to report your judge, you got to report him to his, college roommate or his best friend or his cousin. They're all married and they're all having sex with each other. It's so dark and devious. It's incredible. Even on a local level. That's what I said. This is so, I live in Bennington, Vermont. I have a 300-foot phallus, a tribute to Osiris right in the middle of my town in podunk nowhere, mountains of Vermont, right? I used to be proud of that monument. There's a plaque on the bottom that talks about the 1,600 men that won our freedom from New Hampshire and Vermont. One of them's my grandfather, right? I was like, oh, that's cool. They brought it. That's not what it was for. That's a lie. I think that's a frequency tool, just like my watch, but it's not the right frequency. And I think that's hounding. I think that's set up all over, Mike. I think we had our free energy grid, which was our pyramids. That was Tesla coils before Nikola Tesla. I think they were amplifiers. There you go. It's coming down, by the way. Did I tell you that?
Really?
Yeah, it's coming down. Kind of like the Georgia Guidestones. Because it was made of limestone now. They're having problems with it. And again, I don't see any problems myself, but that's what they're telling us. So they're going to take that down. And I don't know if they're going to rebuild it or hopefully they'll do something different.
Yeah, they always take, something positive and they make it negative. Just like when they killed Martin Luther King, they being, the CIA, the bad guys, And now we have Martin Luther King streets everywhere, and we have Martin Luther King holiday, and we have JFK that was assassinated. So we have JFK schools everywhere, JFK roads everywhere. We could talk about and do slides like we have been sharing, all day long on how they have killed people and then made them into heroes. They already were heroes in their own regard, but then they come in. It's like, oh, poor JFK, and poor Martin Luther King, and on and on and on. So that's what they do.
It's the same with, the people that are supposed to help us, the agencies and resources the rape hotlines and the child advocacy centers and the blood. I always gave blood, thought I was doing the right thing and helping people. The Red Cross is never getting my blood again. Now that I know what I know.
No.
Right. Again, I was
long ago.
I was a double red donor, man. I'd lay down and separate the platelets and negative. So I was very, very, valued. There's probably 10 of me now. I think they've cloned me yet, Mike. My mom's worst nightmare. I could use a clone, actually.
Probably little Kevin's out there running around. Yeah.
It's my mom's worst nightmare. That's what I said. But I could use 2 or 3 of them. If you guys got access to Kevin Hoyt clone, please let me know, because I'm doing like 10 guys work over here, and I could use 3 or 4. And that's my message to the crowd tonight. A lot of people are complaining. A lot of people are scared. Don't wait for someone to come. Like, activate yourselves, man. We need you. Every man, woman, and child. You have a specialty. Use it for for good. Share these videos. Talk about these crazy things, as crazy as they sound, because it all starts with that conversation. And then hopefully we find solutions. We got those too, when we're not talking doom and gloom. So I'm still on a positive timeline, Mike.
That's right. And so you're like making the shift happen by your consciousness. All of us that are in that positive frame of reference, and we keep that, and we share together, and we work together. We can make that happen, just like we did. We stopped the COVID-19 vaccination campaign.
I do.
They were saying, we're going to start. Biden, remember Biden said, we're going to start coming into people's homes, and and then it went out all across like an electric shock went out across the all the social media. You come in my home and you're going to die. And they stopped.
Right, it went out. Well, and a lot of times, just by talking about these things, we can avert it. If we know that there's a sneak attack coming into camp, and we tell everybody, hey, there's a sneak attack coming, well, they go, we're going to have to wait. We're going to have to find another way, because it's not a sneak attack anymore. We turned all the lights on. We told everybody they were coming, right? So a lot of times, by exposing these things, and I've seen you do that over and over, I think, on this show, and a lot of people will blame Trump, Operation Warp Speed, the whole king of vaccination, and that whole thing too. I think by speeding it up, again, we saved countless lives. It was all temperature controlled. They pushed that stuff. It lost all of its, all the potency, if you will, because I don't think it was a good plan. I think that was a setup. I think we know that now. In fact, the world is. That's what I'm saying. We're so tied in here in the United States. I think Peru was the first one to find Bill Gates Foundation, right? And the Rockefeller Foundation responsible for creating COVID. That was like 5-6 years ago, right? I think it was right after COVID hit, for Christ's sake. They already had it. So these things aren't being relayed back to the media here in the United States or anywhere. And I think Turkey lit up. Germany was on fire for a long time. I have friends in Germany that were sending me stuff, and I learned, when I get a video from them, when I watch it, I record it, because what would happen is I would watch it. Again, they're talking about the Black Eye Club or something on mainstream media over in Turkey and Germany. I would get it, and then I go, oh my God, and I grab a buddy and go, watch this video, and it'd be gone. They delete it. So I learned right off the bat, when I get a video, I'm recording it as soon as I'm watching it, and then I have a copy. The same with all my, if anybody out there is doing this type stuff, you need a hard drive. You need a backup, unit that you can remove from your computer. I'd have them go into my phone, not even online, but go into my phone and take documents and, stuff. They change the settings on your computer. Again, I don't know about you, Mike, but the suppression, anything electronic or communication, especially over the last month, incredible. They're shutting us down, or they're trying. but they can't stop. They can block us, ban us, censor us, suppress us. They can't stop us, guys. Remember that. I think we already won. So keep on smiling. That's another huge tip for everybody. It's one of our biggest weapons, a smile, and it's contagious. You can test it today walking down the street, throw in a corny joke and keep that vibration high, because they cannot take that. Their goal is to bring our vibration back down low. So we get about 3 minutes. When you guys have a thought out there, when you have again, evil, bad thought, I have them too. We all do. Well, when you have those negative thoughts, you got basically about a minute, right, to start turning that around. Before that, again, the thought turns into emotion, and then within a minute, and then within 2 minutes, that's turned into a vibration. So essentially, you have 3 minutes to get your shit together. If you have a negative thought, realize it's negative. Why is it happening? Turn it around. And, 3 minutes, you can change the world. Isn't that incredible? That's the power of you. That's what we said. And if you think you're going to be, or if it's more than believing and thinking. If you're going to be okay, you're going to be okay. But if you think you might not make it, you might not. That's the power of you.
You're probably not going to make it.
Everybody watching. That's what I'm saying. You have to know.
Right.
It's more than believing, right?
Yep.
So there you go, America. Get involved, participate. I've said that a million times too. I hope you're not missing it. We need help. All the guys that are standing out here, again, on the front line, there's a billion of us now. And I still say I don't really think they can hurt us, says the guy that just got my daughter back, and they're still trying to kill. But I think for the most part, again, this is over. And if they do get me,
and
right,
that's a good point right there, because you work really hard. You stayed focused on getting your daughter back.
But even if
incredible odds.
People didn't know all the different things, and that's how I know.
Yeah.
Where did my passion come from? Where again they found my weakness, but she was my strength too. And not just her, it's all the children, it's all the kids. When you guys find out what they've been doing to your children, oh my God. And Republicans, Democrats, it doesn't matter if they're on the board, law enforcement, medical community, the schools. This is so big and massive. You guys are not going to believe it. Even me, every day I look and I'm like, how can this possibly be? I don't know if everybody involved with it has intention. I think some people are just doing my job. That's not going to work for much longer. That excuse, I'm just doing my job. That's about up. So you're going to have to pick a side, everybody. And then, again, decide what you're going to do about it. And you have two choices there too. You can roll over and take it, comply. You can stand up and fight back. And you're damn right. If they're going to put me in jail or kill me or kick me out of my home, I'm pretty much there now. Come after my family. Yeah, it's going to be on my feet, kicking and screaming the entire way. You guys can count on that. It has nothing to do with politics or money or power. It has to do with, again, one man trying to save the world. If people ask my daughter what I do for a living, she tells them superhero. Everyday average superhero, right? And that's you guys too. All you got to do is get involved. Don't be afraid because you've never done it or because it's scary, right? Get involved. If you're not afraid, the world's full of opportunity. So I hope people grab that and take advantage of it.
Yep. And, just like the COVID lie, the vaccination lie, a lot of people fell for it. And they were like, if you don't want to get it, you don't have to. And then they started to say, you must get the shot. And then they said, Granny will die if you don't get the shot. And then we'll give you a free burger. And then it just got worse and worse and worse and worse. And then at the end, like we're talking about, they said they're going to come in our homes and force us to vaccinate. And we said, no, we won't comply. And you're going to die if you do that. So in Colorado, they've started to do the smart meters. They've actually been doing it for a long time. And the fires that they had in Colorado several years ago were definitely smart meters that set a lot of them off. And we're seeing the same thing now in a lot of probably LA and all these other places. So we've been saying for years, do not get smart meters. Hello.
You don't have to. A lot of people don't know that.
That's right.
When they're coming into your neighborhood, tell them no.
That's right. And then they come in and they had the police with them, because we heard this from a friend of ours that's in Colorado. And they'll have the police with them as they're coming. We're here to put in the smart meters. Now, with the police standing there, you're thinking, oh, I don't have a choice. Yes, you do. Right. So just be aware. I mean, you have free will, you have free choice, and you have the law behind you often. So know your rights, know where you can stand and who you need to get
They pinch
contacted
you though.
quick if you need them.
Yeah.
It's getting pretty crazy out there. So they went in a lot of homes and went ahead and installed smart meters without the consent of the owners. Then they found out. So now what they're saying, there's a replacement if you want it. Some people are just going to, well, smart meters probably better, right? They don't even know. They don't even know that's a super massive danger for them and their home. And so potential. So they can get it taken off, and it's up to the whoever installed that smart meter to get it back off.
Yeah. Well, and for people that don't know what Mike's talking about, again, you saw the direct energy weapons, why all these houses completely destroyed, but there's one house that was left alone. That was the guy that didn't have a smart meter. They're essentially the US Navy guy that's holding the laser on the target. So the, missile can go down your stovepipe. That's the same thing. They have to paint their targets, and I think smart meters were used for that. I agree with that, Mike.
Yeah.
So you don't have
we
to
just
put
saw a
up
lot of electrical lines in Las Vegas go down. Nothing else,
that.
but the electrical lines for like some miles or something crazy. They all went down. So I think it's just like you're talking about. They used the energy within those poles and they directed it to superheat the poles so they're like flopped over with the wind.
Right. The trees next to them barely moved, but all the poles
nothing else is damaged.
Well, and here's where I'm talking about
these homes that are burned to the dirt, burned into ash, and you have temperatures that have to burn aluminum and all these other metals and so forth that are in the house, porcelain. It has to be a ridiculously high, and you don't see any bathtubs, you don't see any sinks, you don't see any granite, all that's turned to ash. Right. And then right next to it is a tree that's not touched. It's green.
It's not even charred.
Green. Yeah.
I know. That's what I said. It's absolutely ridiculous when you look at it, but it's inconceivable. So I said people can't even imagine this. And especially right now, I'm a big fan of the AI Bigfoot. Have you seen it? You must have seen them. They're all over my feed. All these Bigfoot productions where they got a Bigfoot doing stuff. They're hilarious, but they're showing you the capabilities. Again, Elon's robots just hit the streets, right? Where again, people got videos and they're showing you the technology. You guys know the stuff they have is a lot better than that, right? Like the stuff they show us in the public, the stuff the military and again that cabal has, I think they're hundreds of years. Michael Jaco, if you were again, JP Morgan and I'm your partners and we get Tesla and free energy and the ether and it's here. It's actually here. It was here before. That's again, faked history that we have. Would we just abandon that? So we kill them because we don't want anybody else to have free energy. Would we abandon that project? I don't think we would abandon it.
No, I think we're going to use it for our evil purposes, of course.
Yeah. Well, and
they did
the same thing. So now I can
against us. Yeah.
I can start these power companies. We can put up poles, run lines. I can give all these people jobs, get them in that slave system, doing that. We got free energy. I think we got anti-gravity. I think our planes have been running on anti-gravity all the time. They just didn't. Why does it cost so much to fly? Because of the fuel. So what we're going to do is I'm going to run a fuel truck out there on the tarmac. Make sure you guys see it. I'm going to make you sit around an extra half an hour while the plane's fueling. I'm going to turn them on. You're going to see the jets when we take off. Then when I get up there, I'm going to hit my anti-gravity and I'm going to fly for free. But I'm still going to charge you guys all the money. I think these are real concepts now. I think we have free energy. It's probably been utilized the whole time. The reason we're using this, horrible energy system.
You're absolutely right, because the fuel that they would need to fly those planes would be the plane. You'd have the plane wouldn't get off the ground.
Right. And
you wouldn't be able to get all the fuel in there to begin with.
The mileage doesn't fit either. I mean, I thought I've done this again, an engineer, and I hate math, but I guess I'm into it. If I was going to drive to Michael, right? If I was going to drive, let's say the other end of the country, I'm going to drive from Vermont to Seattle, Washington. I'm not going to make it. My truck doesn't have enough gas, right? But I can tell you guys roughly where I'm going to run out of gas because I know how big my gas tank is and I know the mileage of my truck, right? You can do the same thing for airplanes. Like we don't have enough fuel to make some of the flights that we make. I was questioning it when I went over to Norway. And then that was on the way. On the way back, instead of doing 1,500 miles an hour, we're doing 600 because we had a headwind. We would never make it because of the fuel. We're talking about underground, tunnels. I was in a tunnel in Norway at 55 miles an hour for over 20 minutes with side shoot, right? When I landed back in the United States in Washington, I went down an elevator and got on an underground subway and traveled all around the airport to get back to my car. Last show we did, Michael, we were coming back again. Toward the whole East Coast from Georgia to Vermont State through our hollow mountains, through the caverns. I noted all the military, they're not only guarding them, but there's plaques and there's military all around these, because I think, some of them probably lead to places they don't want you to know about. Admiral Byrd, Journey to the Center of the Earth. Again, you couldn't write a script this good. This is all real life, guys. So I hope you're not missing that. I hope you get involved. I got to jump off, Michael, but I appreciate your time, brother.
How can people reach you if they want to, Kevin?
On great shows like Michael Jaco. If you check out the Grassroots Warrior Network over on Rumble, you find me and Mike and a whole bunch of our friends, a plethora of content, or just look up Kevin Hoyt, Hoyt, Kevin Hoyt VT, as in Vermont, on Rumble. Thanks for having me, buddy. Appreciate you.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys next time.